Really say, okay, we need to analyze the market, we need to understand the customers, really build the strategy before we just do a great creative campaign. Spend some time on really understanding and then, because then you can really do the good creative brief. It's a more strategic way of actually building a brand.
Navigating social media can be, well, complicated. Welcome to the Social Media Sucks podcast from Kubbco.
Social media sucks.
Where we unpack the latest trends and help remove the suck from social media.
Welcome back to the Social Media Sucks podcast by Kubbco. Do you ever experience the fear of missing out when it comes to social media or marketing trends? Then this is definitely the podcast for you. We help you level up your marketing and business skills by covering the latest trends within social media and through our inspiring guests. But before we get started, if you're not already subscribed to our podcast or YouTube channel, then this is the time, because it will really help us get all this amazing inspiration, education out there for more marketers and business people just like yourself. So let's get started today. Yeah, today with me I have Anders Holvøe.
It's a difficult one.
Who is
good, well
I don't
done.
think you can
I don't
pronounce
know.
that.
I'm not.
Holvøe. I tried.
I'm just gonna call you Mr. Anders.
Mr. Anders,
perfect,
yeah.
that's
And not even Anders, but Anders.
Anders.
And you're the director and head of marketing and digital at Telenor.
Yes.
And of course, our chief executive officer,
Oh my
Chris
gosh.
Cobinus.
I like when you add the full thing.
I think this is the first
Wow.
time we recorded that you have a really nice blazer on.
Thank
actually.
you.
Yeah.
I decided to step up my game today. So this is the last time. So just enjoy it while you can.
Yeah.
I'll be back to
I hope
t-shirt.
this will bump up the viewers, actually.
No, it won't. It'll be dropped down and be like, what happened to the grubby guy in the hat and the So,
I really like you chose a Telenor blue.
Is it?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That was on
brand.
purpose.
Really?
Yeah,
Is that a Telenor blue? Okay.
This one, no, maybe this one in here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
True. Okay.
Yeah, I did actually. Thank you for noticing.
Details. So, but first and foremost, Anders, please tell us a little bit about yourself and importantly, your career. How did you end up at this position?
Yeah, because you've got a crazy career.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of stalking on you and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, and decided to match him.
Pretty massive career.
CV,
so,
yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, my name is Anders Holvøe. Difficult and very impossible to pronounce if you talk with anybody from abroad.
Yeah.
So and actually a pretty funny story about my last name. I had my grandfather. He was actually a pianist, and he would like to go to US and have a career, and he needed a great last name, so he changed it to Holvøe, without knowing that you don't have in US.
So it went the other way.
So he went over there and didn't make it at all. So
Because of the name.
I don't think so. Also the talent, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm director brand and marketing. No, sorry, marketing and digital in Telenor.
Great.
So I have a fairly large team working with marketing, digital sales, our one-screen platform, that's our omni-channel capabilities.
Okay.
Also CRM, CLM,
Wow.
app, advanced analytics and AI and so on. So I have a pretty big team.
Broad palette of...
And definitely helping us with a lot of different stuff that we do. So great team and very exciting to work for Telco.
Yeah, I guess that team's been growing a lot, right? Like from creating those sort of digital teams, I guess you guys have really had to expand the palette and really add a lot of people on.
Yeah, and you could say that we have definitely also tried to maybe not add that many people, but actually collect the right people in the team. So we can, for instance, we did for 1.5 years a year ago, we took out the data people and said, hey, this is actually a pretty important resource or like capability that we need to have, because if you need to do great marketing, data is a pretty crucial part of creating insights, using models and so on. So we actually put that from tech, moved them into the marketing department to say, okay, we need to empower people
and have
with
that
data.
synergy as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. How did you get here to the position at Telenor?
Yeah, I actually I worked for many years at Kubbco, so creative or marketing strategy agency, pretty big one. Made my way from normal consultant to associate partner. At some point, I thought, okay, should I just stay there, or should I actually try something else? So I decided to do something else, and then ended up at Telenor. That I think being on the other side, also on the agency side, has definitely helped and learned. I've learned a lot from that part. And of course, it's something different to be on client side now. You really need to work with implementation compared to agency side, where you do a strategy or you do a creative concept or you're doing something like that, and then you hand it over and say, hey, now you work with
you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something different. But I think it's very interesting to also get that perspective on.
What did trigger it? Like, was it a quarter life crisis, like I need to do something else now, or was it like did you get tired of I think the agency
agency? Of course, it was just like I was just associate partner. I was just about to make it to partner, and then I thought, okay, if I do partner,
you're stuck there.
I'm pretty stuck there, and I didn't want to do it for just like 1 or 2 years. I thought, okay, then I would really go all in, and then I said, nah, let me try something else. So I made the move over to client side.
I think it's always interesting meeting profiles like yours, like you, where you have had that industry experience on the agency side and then go company side, because I think having, like you said, having both of those, I think gives you a lot of tools in both managing the agency, but also managing expectations internally, understanding like maybe even having maybe a broader sense of what should we do here or how should we do it. And Kubbco is an interesting sort of agency in a sense of like the people that come out of Kubbco have a specific, like you guys are a specific bunch. And how has that shaped you and how, like, into your career at Telenor? Has it helped you? Has it been something that's, maybe you've had to deal with in a different way, or what's your thoughts there?
I think that's a very, very good question. Looking back, I think the whole way of actually really focusing on the strategy. So really say, okay, we need to analyze the market. We need to understand the customers. We need to really build the strategy before we just do a great creative campaign. So really start with that, describing what would you like to gain, what the brand, really
doing
try
that
to
brief for yourself.
And also just actually spend some time on really understanding, and then because then you can really do the good creative brief, and you can really do the right foundation in terms of what you would like to do creatively. So that was also what we did in Telenor. We have definitely been struggling a little bit with the brand for some years ago, just doing the normal telco stuff with the pricing and like a subsidy and price campaigns and so on. So we really actually tried to spend some time on understanding, analyzing, and so on. And then we did this brand vision architecture, we called it, to really try to describe it, the brand. And then, okay, what position would we like to have, and so on. And then we did the creative. So it's a more strategic way of actually building a brand.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you're right. Like Kubbco definitely has a good handle on that. And that's you can see the people that come out of there have that, so that's really cool.
Giving that depth. Just one last question for this little nice introduction. Do you have any advice for upcoming marketeers who want to become big shots in CMO positions and etc.?
Work your asses off.
That's if you pose that question to Jesper Kunde, that would be exactly his answer. So
probably, I can see that.
I like that, but no, but of course, a lot of work, but I really believe that working also strategically at an agency, that has definitely helped me. So getting this also. working with a lot of different clients. I think that's what agency can actually deliver. So you get many different. You see many different strategies. You see many work with many different brands and so on. If you can also then put like the Danish and then also work with some international brands. That's of course also very, very nice. So this whole way of starting agency side and then stay there if you like, or then go client side. That has really helped me. I would say.
Do you think you could do it the other way? Like I've often talked to young people coming out of marketing degrees or things like that, and I often say the same thing. I'm like, start agency side, then in the future go client side, because I think my impression is that if you start client side, it's really hard to go agency side. But what's your take on that? Is that possible, or what's your recommendation?
I actually, thinking back now, I don't know anybody that actually did it.
That did it successfully, did it client side first, and then went to
either.
But maybe they're out there. But
you also hear mostly about the stories where agency side people get snatched for the brands, right? And you don't really go the other way, like agency snapping brand side people. So I don't know, maybe there's something to it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I should try. Should I be like have the first agency built on just brand side people? Just sucking the talent out of all of our clients.
But of course, in my team we have a lot of people also that has never worked on agency side. So it's of course it's doable. But doing the shift from client side to agency side, I actually believe that would be a little bit harder than going the other way.
Yeah. Would you ever go back? Maybe if it was your own agency, you'd probably do that.
I have really thought about it. I don't want to create my own agency. That's too much.
It's fun.
I know.
Really?
Yeah, it's fun.
It is.
But
it's real fun. It can be sometimes.
It can be. But it's seriously. It's also this whole thing about really looking at chasing revenue and new clients and so on. That's not me.
It's definitely a sleepless
but you have
nights
other
thing.
challenges on the brand side, so it's like there's always pros and cons about jobs.
True. Very true.
Thanks so much for sharing. That was really interesting. Can you elaborate on Telenor for our global audience as well? What is Telenor and what do you guys do?
Yeah, definitely. We are a telco provider, so Danish, the second biggest in Denmark.
Who's the biggest? No, maybe we shouldn't mention them. Never mind. We don't want to mention them.
Okay,
forget
off
it.
cam.
No, but
Whisper.
I think everybody knows the biggest one.
Okay,
it's the old.
Starts with a T as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so
we know.
they are by far the biggest.
Yeah. Okay.
And we are number 2. We are being chased by 3.
Who's in number 3?
Yeah, they are number
3 and
3.
number 3.
Exactly, and they would definitely like to go number 2. But up until now we have actually managed to keep them at number 3.
I have Telenor, by the way.
Perfect.
I love it.
Fantastic. No, and of course we both do mobile, so telco, and we also do fiber, so broadband and so on.
I have that as well.
So we both do telco and we do broadband.
Awesome.
And then we have a consumer business, and we also have a B2B part of the business.
Great.
And we are owned by Telenor Norway. So I'm sitting at the Danish office, the business unit in Denmark. So, but of course, also working together with the group department and some of the international stuff.
Cool.
So,
that's great. And do you guys, because you spoke about it, like being in sort of second place, it's an interesting place because you have to be offensive and defensive in some ways. You have to be on both sides of those, defending current ground and on the offensive to try to gain more ground. How does that shape your marketing? Or does it?
I don't think that one is shaping the marketing and the campaigning we do. I think it's more like a general telco way of seeing things. We have been like chasing volumes, so customers, building customer base,
customer acquisition.
Exactly. So we have been so focused on customer acquisition and have done, because the most easy thing in telco to get customer is just hey,
the price.
Exactly. Just subsidize.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you can get this amazing iPhone offer for 1 kroner, and then just with the cheapest subscription, and then we bind you for 6 months, and then we get a tons load of customers in, but they leave us after 6 months, right? So we don't have any.
Point, right?
Our acquisition cost is high. We don't have any lifetime value and so on. So that's the easiest game in telco. That's getting new customers, but keeping them and really building value. That's a hard challenge.
Yeah, that's for many brands. Most brands is like that,
course.
right?
But I think like you definitely see. I mean, it's a bit deregulated in a sense, like the telco business, where you just have these young up and coming companies that just come in, really low pricing, cost of acquisition's high. They're funded by a VC, and then of course you have to sell. They have to be bought out by another telco in 6 years or so because they just have so much of a customer base, and it seems to be a
recurring
sort
thing.
of churn and burn sort of strategy towards just getting as much clients as possible, customers as possible, and it's kind of a dirty business in some ways that way, right? It's not so much fun, I guess. Like,
you could say that it has definitely been a business model for a lot of these newcomers, but actually it's quite some years since we have seen one of these telco coming. The last one was Alka. Mobile, but that was another business model. So really, Alka Insurance coming in, using it as a retention tool for you can only buy this mobile subscription if you are also having a
membership.
Exactly. So and that's
like also has that.
Yeah,
and like
exactly.
A bunch of different sort of energy providers have it as well. Like it's weird.
So that's a completely new way. But again, if you look at the market, Danish market, we have I think it's almost 2 SIM cards each, all Danish people. So we have way too many SIM cards. We have is it 14 brands on the Danish market right now? So crazy many brands fighting just for market share all the time. And if you compare to Norway, Sweden, Finland, some of our other BUs, they have maybe 5 telcos, maybe 3 telcos.
It's quite unregulated here. I find like it's quite open market for a lot of different players.
So it's really it's a tough market. It's a competitive market to be in, but it's also fun. It's also every time a competitor does something, we are of course considering. We are trying not to look at them. We are really trying.
It's hard, right?
But it's definitely hard.
Of course.
So
what's the consumer trend like in this area, especially here in Denmark, where we're located? Like, do people shift their providers a lot, or are they usually loyal, just switching between different kind of subscriptions, or how is that look like here in Denmark?
We have a fairly big base of customers that are pretty loyal. And then we have like these, we call it the washing machine, that's just they're shifting all the time, changing from
always
one
best deal.
So it's very device driven. So they just say, hey, a new phone is coming out. Hey, I change, and then I get a big kickback or subsidy, and then they change to somebody else. And of course we are paying for that. So that's also what we would really love to get out of if we could. But it's also this whole constant battle of value in terms of volume. And
is it possible to lean into that, the washing machine people? Is it possible to like say, hey, we've got a product for you where basically every 6 months you're getting
the new iPhone
or the new something, and like then saying,
but you gotta have the subscription.
But you gotta do but maybe there's a cost. But I mean, just saying it now, I'm like, the customer lifetime value probably sucks ass on that. So it's like you almost don't want them as part of your business. So it's like, are we building a product for somebody we don't want? So it's tough. But I have seen that as well. There's a lot of like just every 6 months changing, and it's like, how do you combat that? How do you fix that? Maybe you can't.
And the easiest part for us would be to just say, hey, now we screw volume. We say we don't look at our customer base. So hey, screw that we are number 2 If it's more valuable to be number 3, then let's go for that.
Yeah, you're looking at profit versus
exactly.
Yeah.
So just lower subsidy, lower the aggressiveness, and then say, hey, we will maximize value instead of volume, customer base. That would be fairly easy, but again, in this competitive market, we are still looking at volume. We will still need to be and like to be number 2, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's tough. And it's also, as we head into maybe a recession, it's also like, what do we... Oh my
God, don't say that.
It's true. It's already here. I mean, like we don't have to, the big R word, but it is like, what do you focus on? Do we focus on customer acquisition? Do we focus on lifetime value or profits? Like it's tough for the telcos, I think, to figure out what to do there.
How long have you been at Telenor?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Have you seen any changes just in these 2.5 years in terms of your marketing strategy direction? Like, where are we leading now? Because technology, digital platforms are just advancing so fast. Yeah,
well, we have definitely changed our whole strategy in terms of trying to not look at acquisition, trying to be actually really doing a lot of stuff to retain customers. So of course you could discuss if we could do even more, but again, it is this balance between acquisition and retention. But we have really tried to do way more retention than acquisition.
So you're actually doing more communications towards your existing customer base?
Yeah, but it's also really trying to say, hey, for instance, we just when I started, we had this screen swap, we call it. So every time you buy a new phone from us, you get 3 screen swaps. So if you smash your screen, you can actually go down and you can get it. You have a small. Do you
have that?
Yeah. You need to pay a little bit, a small price to get it swapped, changed. Yeah. But it's compared to if you go to just a fix and repair shop.
It's easily 2.5 Danish kroner.
Exactly, and you maybe pay 200 kroner. So it's
that's nice.
It's really.
I just smashed my screen today, actually.
But
you have Telenor though.
No,
then don't do it.
I can't.
Oh, you smashed it today.
Yeah, I smashed today. We have.
If you get a new iPhone, can I get one?
No.
2 for
1.
He's always asking me for phones. Yeah.
Gonna do it more publicly.
But
I'm going low. I'm going like Nokia 3130 or whatever
going
it is.
Android.
Yeah, I'm going.
Then we can't communicate with you.
No, I know I'll be disowned from the agency. So, Martin's like Android all the way. That's our video editor.
You can't have Android because then all the new features in apps won't be reachable to.
I know. I need both phones actually. Like two SIM card thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you see any challenges within these few years then as well?
Many challenges
that kind of trips your marketing strategy. I guess it's not like that straightforward.
I would say the creating more for less. That's probably the biggest challenge. Being squeezed on marketing budgets, being squeezed on FTEs, being squeezed on everything.
Oh, really?
And then really having the same. Like the same goals, the same KPIs you need to deliver on.
Okay.
That's definitely a challenge. I don't want to sit here and cry or anything, but but it is tricky. It is. Yeah. Of course, it's.
How do you stretch those budgets then?
Yeah, but it's one thing is definitely trying to really use data and really try to be more clever in terms of how you use your marketing spend. So really, we have worked a lot with these building these models. So prediction models in terms of can we actually build a data model that can predict when are customer churning, when are the right like moment to really communicate to this customer to give them like a new offer on a phone or whatever. Instead of just blasting out and do not clever media spend buying. So really trying to work with data, really trying to work with these models. Also using a lot of machine learning in terms of really really trying to like know the customer base, do lookalikes, upload a lot of our our data into some of these platforms and so on. So also implementing a CDP, I think that's also been pretty efficient. Of course, it created. We needed to spend some time and of course also effort in terms of building the platform, but we can really see that utilizing our existing customer data can really make more clever buying, and we are more precise. We are more one-to-one in our communication. We can see a very nice effect on that.
Yeah, I think it's an important tip for anybody listening that, I think a lot of times companies are sitting on that amazing golden data that you're talking about of your existing customers and really working with that to discover who is the buyer, who is the most likely to react to our advertising, because I think that's the power that we have now with most digital platforms or digital media. And oftentimes we're talking about new audiences or trying to build that, and well, the new audience really comes out of the old audience in some ways, because you want to hit the target really efficiently instead of spending budget towards others that they're never going to buy from you, or maybe they or won't for another 6 or 7 months or a year. And really being able to, like you said, spend that money efficiently is key. And I think that you're right, like the entrance into that is looking at existing customer data and really pulling that apart, and using some machine learning to help will definitely get you there. So it's a good tip, very good tip for those listening.
Yeah. How are you guys using your social media? Is it mostly sales driven, or do you actually use it for other communication purposes?
We use it both for both sales, but also some other campaign types and so on. We have of course try to. We have this NetSikker offer where we actually try. It's kind of an insurance you get for free in your subscription. So if you get violated in terms of breaching pictures, or your credit card is being violated and so on, we actually help you. So that's that. Of course, we have tried to build a lot of content surrounding that, telling that story, and using case stories and so on to really tell the story, and that's mostly social driven. But of course, it's also a very nice acquisition channel in terms of. So we also use it a lot for offers and so on. So that's of course a pretty big part of our budget on social.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Do you ever use influencer marketing on social media or for your campaigns?
Yeah, we've tried it a little bit. I must say that I've been a little bit holding back on social, on influencer, because every time I've looked at the data, I'm just like, okay, how many followers do you have? Can you actually break that down, and can you see what is the demographic? Are they Danish? Are they whatever? Because we of course don't want to target anybody that are not living in Denmark, because you can only buy Telco in Denmark. So and I simply miss the hardcore data and the hardcore facts
to justify justify
it. But we actually we have tried it a little bit with okay results. So it's still something that we probably need to look into in the future to
you probably thought about this, but I think a good starting point for you into that could be looking at not necessarily influencers, but content creators, and then getting a sense through both the data that they have on their platform, but also maybe through some social listening or through some data gathering, figuring out, okay, does this person resonate with a target audience that we have? And then using that sort of influencer or content creator to create the content, and then posting together, because you can kind of do sort of tandem posting now. And then on top of that, do paid sponsorship. So, and what that gives you is actually, so it looks like it's not coming necessarily from Telenor. It looks like it's coming from the influencer. It gives you it lowers the sort of advertising awareness that somebody has, like, oh my God, this is advertising. I need to scroll past it as fast as possible. So it might lower their guard a little bit if it is sort of an influencer creator type of person. And if it resonates with that audience, then you're kind of able to tap into a subset of the culture that you maybe couldn't have before. I'm sure you probably thought about all this, but can be a nice way of like, because I totally agree with you that sometimes these influencers, it's like, okay, what am I paying for?
Yeah.
If you look at the per impression price, it's more expensive than if I was just going to go buy advertising. So it's like, why am I doing this? And then I think the justification is, okay, if we use them more as a content, making the content, obviously, because you'd pay an agency to produce that, or yourselves internally. And then, you know, what am I getting on top is like using their face as sort of a spokesperson. That's when you can kind of justify it and you go, okay, this makes somewhat sense. And then if you throw money behind it that you can target specifically using your other data that you have, then it kind of comes together. But you're right, it is I've seen so many influencer deals that I'm just like, what in the actual hell? What are we paying for here?
And I must also say that it's actually quite some time since we really looked into it, or I looked into it. I have somebody in my team that probably could tell a little bit a different story. But last time I just thought, okay, if you need to have these, like the big influencers, they are not cheap.
No.
So then you really need to do the good business case here in terms of what you say to, hey, they create the content, and can they tear down some barriers in terms of getting
different segments
and also getting a more like better connection to the audience and so on. So
and measuring that's also super difficult, right?
Yeah.
Like it's you know, you have to do some brand lift studies and they're not perfect, and you have to do some, you know, qualitative sort of analysis, and it's not perfect. So I totally agree with you that it's kind of, what's the point in some ways?
How do I measure it?
I can just go buy that media tomorrow and I don't have to do any of these things. So, but I totally agree with you. But yeah, that's the only thing I would say is like try it from that perspective and maybe it works.
Yeah.
I know, speaking of this digital presence, I know that it's also a matter of your heart with, you know, the marketers that's on social media, advertisers, etc. We hold a certain share of responsibility, right, for the digital usage of our audiences.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's also pretty key to both myself and also the whole strategy we have. That hey, we need to take some responsibility. I think a lot of these social medias are really having some impact, especially on the younger target group and the younger people here. Myself, I can see my daughter, she's 11, and her biggest wish is to get TikTok, and I'm just saying no. The limit is 13, so you're not getting it. And constant discussion with her, and I'm saying no because I simply, of course, they have a limit, but again also because you don't know how it will actually impact her and how it's impacting all young people. You can see all these studies in terms of, hey, Instagram is really influencing young women's like how they look at themselves and so on. So I think
also
it's
young men, like not to discount them.
Yeah, definitely.
It is like I totally agree with you that there's this societal thing that we have a little bit of problems with right now, and how do we deal with that? So it's good that you guys are taking some responsibility.
And of course I would say it's a little bit like an ambivalent like feeling, because it's also a fantastic channel to target people, but then it also has some negative
you also got to figure out your voice and your purpose and justify why you're there, right? How does that impact your guys' strategy? As you say, in terms of social media responsibility, like how do you guys carry that out?
Yeah, and I think we are of course really trying to do some of these products that can help, and also we have also a child subscription where you can actually like just cut off the connection and so on. So we are actually trying to do some stuff, but I think we of course need to do even more in terms of trying to help here. We are actually also trying. We have this whole every once a year we do this competition. We call it Digital Paint. So talk nicely on digital platforms, and it's actually a school competition where school classes between 4th and 6th grade, they can sign up, and then they do like this week with the material about how you talk to each other and digital and so on. And then they need to do a small film themselves, and they send it in to a jury, and then the class can actually win 10,000 kroner to do something together.
Okay, that's nice.
So
that's great. I'm going to tell my
do that.
My daughter's school to do that, and my son's school.
It's actually running now.
But you're so right. Like I think that it's an area that I didn't know about when I became a parent that I would have to deal with quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it is like it takes up a significant part of being a parent is actually teaching kids how to talk online.
Yeah.
How to converse.
Behave and
how to behave and what's
well.
appropriate, what's inappropriate, what can you say, what can't you say, when should you pick up the phone versus when text is okay. Like it is. It's like something you don't even consider, and then you're like, when you get into it, you're like, holy crap. This is a big part of growing up now.
Their childhood.
And also what media do you consume, like you said, what do you there's a lot of discussion about what is fake, what is real, what is okay for someone to post online, what isn't okay. Like it's a big one. It's almost like it needs to be a class on its own. It's so crazy how much it takes up our lives, right? So it's good that you guys are but into it, right? And there's lots more to do, but it's at least you're taking a stand in it.
And maybe it should be something that the tech company should actually say, hey, now we will actually every week or whatever a year we'll do this whole thing. We'll finance it in terms of building the awareness, creating like the education and so on, because the school system, I don't think the institutions or our government, they actually know how to handle this and how important it is. So maybe it could be something that some of these guys could say, hey, we would actually like to help you and help the young people actually.
If Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of them want to have a seat at the table or want to be a part of people's lives, I think you're right. I think they do have a somewhat responsibility. So it would be nice if they would also step up and say, hey, maybe out of these 15 billion we made last year, maybe we should take $1 billion and put it towards safeguarding our future consumers.
Maybe.
It's a good point. So Mark Zuckerberg, if you're listening, I know you're a big fan of the show. 1 billion, that's all it's going to take, I think. Digital education in schools. I know you're interested in putting satellites, and last time I saw you were doing Muay Thai on Instagram. So maybe you should spend some time on that.
Good advice.
Good advice.
Very good
from Anders. It's not my advice, it's from Anders.
Or if anybody else want to jump in and sponsor it, I mean, open seat, open idea.
I like this idea a lot.
Yet,
we could start a trend.
But speaking of all these social media platforms, actually, it's let's circle in on the metaverse. Where do you see? Dun dun dun. I know you've talked about it as well, but I want to know, where do you see Telenor going with their marketing now that Metaverse is here?
And it's a very good question, and I would wish I could actually answer that because
I don't think anybody can answer that.
No, exactly, because of course we have been looking at all these data and all these predictions in terms of Gartner said that 25% of all people would use at least an hour in 26 and so on, and then and you need to go now and prepare and so on, and
it's still a ways away.
And gamers, I also saw this, that gamers they feel more like themselves on the metaverse today and so on. So
interesting.
52% actually feel more themselves within the metaverse, and of course so all these stats are just telling that, hey, do we need to do something? Is it now? Is it something that we need to act on?
How do we prep for it?
And how? Exactly. And so I simply don't know. I definitely see a lot of interesting use cases in terms of NFTs. That could be something that could be interesting to look into. I also think creating some of these like platforms within the metaverse or whatever that is. I also think we need to define what the metaverse is before we really go into discuss it, because is it what Mark Zuckerberg is saying it is, very very cleverly just moving his whole business, calling it meta, or is it actually just Roblox, or is that also a metaverse, or is it a Second Life that was big for ages? Was that a metaverse, and so on? So
it's kind of all of it, right? I think
it is. Yeah. It is. So
what's interesting for you guys, sorry to cut you off, is like all of these have one thing in common, which is the ISP. It's you guys. Like, it really is like, there's no entrance into the metaverse without an internet service provider or data service provider. So you guys are essentially the conduit for which all of this has to come together, which is an interesting position to be in, because that's the same thing with the internet, I guess. But as the second part of the internet, if we want to call metaverse internet 3.0 or whatever people are calling it, web 3.0, it's like, how do you guys capitalize on maybe being the first in that? Like, how do you, or position yourselves as being the provider that you want to be on if you are going into the metaverse on a daily basis or hourly basis or whatever? I think that's an interesting thing that's coming, right? Like, and I don't have any answers either, but I do think, like, what do you do? Like, I don't know, but I think being that conduit, or being the first to do it, or being the entrance into the metaverse is a funny angle. Yeah,
and of course it's all about data, as you exactly said. So 5G will definitely do something. So being and having the right speed and a low latency and so on. Of course that's a key to getting the full experience and so on. But again, all telcos will have the same thing. So we can't really differentiate or do anything there. We can maybe do it like on smaller bits and pieces, but nobody will actually experience that. So it is something to say, should we be there? I'm not sure, and how should we be there? In what kind of form?
Do you think customer service will take place there? Like, I think that about companies like yours, that it could be the place where if somebody's in the metaverse and they're having problems, well, with the internet, I guess they won't be in the metaverse, but if they're having problems with their phone, or they're having problems with anything to do with your services, would they go there to find a virtual assistant, a metaverse assistant, and then talk with that person and be like, hey, my screen cracked. What should I do? Do you think that's the place where you guys will be? Or what do you think?
We actually tried this version of live shopping for a year ago, approximately. But it was an off. You could say you could do a video call to an agent, a real live agent. It didn't fly that well.
Okay.
But again,
at least you're trying it.
Yeah, we tried it, and I think probably we'll try again, because it has also like developed a little bit now. More people are using it and so on. So the whole
changes.
Exactly. So the whole social shopping, I think that's definitely something we need to look into. And we are beginning to look into. And then this whole service part, maybe it could be good. I don't know. This whole thing about now you take on your glasses, goggles, and then you see something. I don't know. But a lot of the other parts of Web3 and whatever metaverse could be, if you could actually have a phone and you could see it in like an augmented way, and because we can of course see the biggest barrier of selling a new phone is hey, people would like to get as close as possible to have it in your hand, right?
Like.
So if you could somehow do that in some kind of way, that could maybe tear down a barrier. But again, some of the experiences you also, and the help, and hey, maybe that could also be done in the metaverse. I don't know, but again,
I don't know what the benefits are, but other than it could be a cool location that you go to. It's like, look at this customer service room. It's pretty cool. Got dinosaurs over there and ninjas over here, and So.
But again, I think a lot of these new opportunities also in terms of how you can actually do open AI, how you can really do a lot of these stuff and optimizations in terms of and using new tech. I really see a lot of this as something we need to look into and we need to go for. If it's Metaverse in the Mark Zuckerberg version, I don't know, but we need, of course, you need to look at it and also really be curious about the good use cases. We've seen a couple of those. I had just read that now Nike is actually getting quite some substantial earnings in terms of selling NFTs or sneakers in this Metaverse. I think it was it $200 million of revenue. Of course,
just off of NFTs.
Exactly.
Wow, that's crazy.
Of course, that's a nice little revenue stream coming from another side, right? So if you can create some of these, of course that could be interesting.
But that's also because Nike have a strong brand and they build that legacy for years and years, right? So and they have an audience that's suitable for that as well.
Yeah, and it's also easier to do fashion. Everybody would like to look cool in the Metaverse. So of course they have a business. Do they want to flash Telenor? I don't know. Maybe they will at some point, but
depends on how well you do your branding.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for that.
Latest Telenor's T-shirt in the Metaverse.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
500 ETH. No,
for free maybe.
Man, like I've seen the like, it's quite funny, right? The whole merchandise blow up thing of all these brands that you thought would never have merch, and now like I just saw Heinz ketchup has merch.
Yeah, they dropped some
it's
T-shirts.
Like, it's got like a ketchup
collection
stain on it. It looks like a ketchup stain. So yeah,
I think that's to me that's
fun
just
games.
A little bit stupid.
It's just funny. It's a marketing stunt. Right?
It is.
Everyone's just doing these stunts.
But how much would you actually gain out of it?
I don't think you get anything other than maybe a few days of cultural relevance, and that's about it, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, but I'm with you too. It's a bit strange. It's I'm really wearing that shirt. No, I'm not gonna wear a ketchup stained shirt. That's not my thing.
But again, I think if you really say, okay, what kind of problem would you like to solve, and then start there instead of just copying the real world into the Metaverse, then maybe it could make sense.
Yeah.
So really trying to is it service or is it something else you would like to solve?
I think the augmented phone thing is a good idea. I think that you're right. Like people want to feel like the product before they buy it.
Yeah.
So that could be a way. Yeah.
Could also, of course, and now we talked about this whole digital bullying and so on. Could you actually do something there? Education, whatever. That's also some of the use cases you actually see in terms of how you can use it. So
using it for CSR type stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but there's also certain challenges that comes with the Metaverse, right? Like rules and regulations. Like it's also just opens up. You talked about like digital police and whatsoever.
Yeah, I think there'll be digital police pretty soon. I mean, because we need to have some sort of, if it is a society, if it's becoming like a place where you go, I mean, just like we have cyber security, in each government, there'll be the same for the Metaverse, right? You'll have these sort of police start to be, hey, I need to call someone's trying to steal my Nikes. So call the police.
Yeah, and I also think it's this whole thing about being immersed into something. We don't really know how that will impact us as human beings, right? So what kind of effect will it have on young people, on all of us actually? I think that's also something that we really need to be not careful about, but really try to investigate and try to find out.
Totally agree. It's going to be a weird one.
Yeah,
we'll be having the same discussions about how social has impacted everyone's self-esteem and depression and anxiety. It's going to be the same discussions but I mean, all media has sort of had that. Like when the television came out as well, it was like, what kind of impact is this having on our society? And same with the phone, the mobile phone. Like what people even had like discussions about, is it causing brain cancer. So I think all sort of media and tech goes through this. And
but it always affects brands.
Yeah,
right.
it does.
Like at the end, because we always say that brands need to carry certain responsibility, even when it's about global warming, etc. All brands jump in on that, right?
Even more so today. I mean, it's only been the last, I think, 10 years that they've really taken a stand on it. But but you're right.
Yeah. But I really think it's very interesting to see if you look at the human brain, we haven't developed that much. If you look, it's almost like all our emotions is from the Stone Age, right?
Yeah.
And then we have like these medieval institutions like government and so on. That a lot of that is also from that period and what they're built on. And then you have these godlike tech companies that are just using data, using algorithms to really push us, instant scroll and so on. So it's like. It's an unfair battle, right?
Kind of.
So
I haven't thought about it like that. No. Okay. Interesting.
We're getting deep here on the podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's good. Next time we're going to talk about stoicism and no, I love it though. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it's we're in a weird world now that we've never had to battle with. So it's interesting to see, and I think it's cool that you guys are taking not some responsibility, but some thoughts into, okay, how do we play in this, and how do we have a stake in all of this? And it's cool to see that you guys are doing something about it.
Yeah, because brands do shape culture and vice versa, and also
totally agree.
So last question is, where do you see the future outlook for telemarketing?
Telemarketing or Telenor?
So not telemarketing, but marketing. Telecom. Oh my God, telemarketing. Yeah.
Is that what you think Anders does all day? He's just on the phone.
Hello.
He's selling. Would you like a Telenor subscription?
Yes.
We have a new phone for you.
I haven't understood the podcast at all. Okay, actually.
You want to try that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you see the future outlook for your industry?
For our industry.
Yes.
Oh, nice! You took a nice way out.
But hopefully we'll invest a little bit more time in actually looking long term instead of just creating these short term sales. Just what we talked about earlier in terms of just getting in new customers all the time. Really building brands. Really trying to focus on not acquiring customers all the freaking time. Doing something great for our customers instead, trying to keep them. I would love that. And then, hey, if some of the brands would say hello, goodbye, to Denmark, so we're not 15, 16, 17 in the next year, but a little bit fewer brands. Of course, that would also be nice. Yeah. But really focusing on the brand, doing something great for our existing customer base, that would be nice.
Do you have any good use cases now already that you can talk about? You're doing within Telenor that you actually can see generate results in terms of...
We of course, we delivered this screen swap that I talked about earlier. That's cool. A free tool you get when you buy a phone. NetSikker is also part of your subscription, and we can see that almost half of our customers, when we ask them, why did you actually choose Telenor, that was one of the main topics or main choose criteria in terms of selecting, right? So of course, price is still important. A good deal on your phone is still important, but we believe that we are trying to make other things as not as important, but maybe almost as important as price.
Yeah. But that's also values you talk about, right? For instance, this digital education that you can provide for young children. I mean, that's a good tactic to have for, parents who has to buy these subscriptions and phones, etc. That it comes with a workshop of digital behavior.
Absolutely. And then if you could offer like if you give your old phone to your child, you get a new phone or something like that. That's also could be a way to get them more sales as well.
Okay, interesting.
And then also, what else did I have an idea for you guys while I was listening to you? I was thinking about cracked screens. I think the swap screen thing is a really interesting idea. I think you could. I saw a really funny ad the other day for someone who made a really fancy iPhone ad for their phone that was totally cracked out. So it was like, the standard sort of Apple, like It was like only drop twice. 10 megapixels completely not working. Like I thought that could be a funny also angle for you guys in terms of people selling.
Just use secondhand.
Yeah, secondhand like
devices.
Swappy has gone so big,
But,
right? Like I think secondhand devices is like another market that's just so big right now.
Do you have partnership with Blue City? Isn't that
is that Blue City?
Blue City has they have a shop here in Vesterbrogade, I think, where it's a secondhand tech
Is
stuff,
that what
right?
it is?
Yeah, but all of us telcos, we have this buyback opportunity.
Yeah,
So, hey,
nice
you can trade in your old phone and you get some money back, right?
Yeah, you can have my old phone and give me a new one.
Do you keep? She keeps trying to. This is a nicer
It's
phone
nice.
than mine.
It's not
Hey,
cracked.
just
There you go.
And
And my passport.
it's not cracked, is it?
Yeah, right down here. I see that.
Oh,
Busted
okay.
it open today.
Oh, okay.
Could see it.
That's a small crack. Nothing to worry about.
Next.
Thank you guys so much for sharing. So here you have it. Wise words from a director and head of marketing and digital, and Anders' take on Telenor's digital presence, and of course, Chris Cobbins was here.
I said some things. That's all.
Share some opinions.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening, and tune in for the next one. Bye.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
This has been the Social Media Sucks Podcast.